Look at that. Today, we are making the ultimate veggie and prosciutto omelet. Stop wasting your money on omelets that are nowhere near as good as ours, and subscribe to Simply Refined Cooking. Let's get started. So what we're gonna use is prosciutto, red onions, some mushrooms, and also freshly picked tomatoes from the garden is what I'm using. You can get anything, go grape tomatoes preferably, or cherry tomatoes are really good. And then we're gonna actually blend some herb goat cheese with our eggs. This will give it a really creamy, rich texture. So let's start by opening up our prosciutto. Got some leftovers, and I'm gonna use about 2.5 slices. So I'll just simply start by cutting it up really finely. So I'll take the prosciutto and just cut it into like little 1-inch, 2-inch slices, just like that. Really simple, you know, just like that. You can use uncured ham, just regular thick cut ham. Whatever you'd like to use, I just love prosciutto, it has a great flavor. And we're just gonna simply cut it into very thin little strips, just like that, right? And we don't need to use the fat, I'll just get rid of that. Okay, so let's get a pan nice and hot. Medium heat, and you can just start putting your prosciutto over here. This is gonna really render it out, and you'll have a nice crispy little Parma ham. Exactly what you want. So just let it slowly cook down, and eventually it's gonna get crispy. I'll show you how that looks like in a minute. While that's beginning to render down, we're gonna start cutting our vegetables. You know, everything nice and small. So we'll take our mushrooms and just cut off the stems, just like that. Got about 5 mushrooms, small size. These are Portobello mushrooms. I love the flavor that they have when they sweat out. So we'll just slice them, just like this. And when you're slicing, to not cut your fingers, always curl your fingers kind of like this and keep your thumb tucked behind. So you will never cut your finger while you're going. Right? I've cut my finger so many times, I've learned the hard way, so just... Right. It doesn't have to be perfect, just little slices like that. No? Okay. And we'll just put that aside, get rid of the stems. With the tomatoes, we're just gonna cut it down the long way, like that, and we'll just cut it in half, so it's almost like a cross. 4 pieces. I'll show you again. Cut it down the long way, then half, like that. Really simple. We're gonna use a red onion, just half a small one, nothing too crazy. In the meantime, let's look at that ham. It's looking really nice. It's starting to, the fat is starting to melt, and it's starting to get really nice aroma in the kitchen. So we'll keep it going for another bit. Every once in a while, you want to toss it around a little bit, you know. Try not to lose any of it. Okay. So for this, we're gonna dice it really finely. I'm sure you already know how to do it. If not, you just cut little slits like this. Be very careful with your hand. You don't want to cut yourself. And then we'll just nicely cut going down vertically. Just like that. Alright. Now we're just going to cut it as thin as possible, little slices. You really should have like a wet paper towel underneath so your board doesn't slide all over the place, but it's okay. Just lightly, just be delicate with it. Don't force anything. Just gotta enjoy what you're doing, you know? Just be relaxed with it. And this is gonna come out so good, I promise you. All right, so that is all of our vegetables cut up. And I'll show you how we do that in a minute. So back to the prosciutto. As you can see, it's really starting to crisp up a little bit. At this point, you wanna lower the heat just a little bit because you don't wanna burn it, it will start to get black. And you can take like a rubber spatula or a spoon. I'm just gonna use a spoon. Just get it all mixed together. And essentially, you want most of your pieces to look like this, really nice and crispy. And that is really gonna bring out a lot of flavor. And just a great texture, crema, you know? So, what we're gonna do now is make our egg base. I like to add some goat cheese to the eggs in the blender. I have garlic and herbs, you can use regular, just as much as you'd like. And so I'm gonna use about 1/4 of a log. You know what, I'll go a little bit more. So like let's say this is 2 tablespoons to 4 eggs. Okay. We're just gonna simply put our blender cap on and just blend it up. Just to quickly blend it, you don't want to over blend it because you'll get too much air in there. And if you'd like to make it even creamier, you could add some heavy cream. So I'll add like just a drip of heavy cream and we'll just mix that together. That's our eggs. Okay. So this is probably more than enough. You can probably make 2 omelets with this. In the meantime, let's see. This is just about where we want, kind of like crispy bacon almost. But a little fancier. So yeah, you got some sort of soft pieces, but that's how you want it. So we'll get our bowl and just scoop it right out into there. Some beautiful Parmesan. So at this point, you need to wash the pan out. Add a little bit of olive oil to that. Just like so. It's already smoking. It's already nice and hot. So to start, let's add in our onions and let them cook down a little bit. Onions, they take the longest to cook. That's why we're adding them first. See that? Beautiful. Okay. Mix that together. And once it gets really tender, sort of translucent, that's when we're gonna start to add in our mushrooms. Okay, so now that these onions are really cooking down nicely, we're just gonna add in our mushrooms. And of course, since like the tomatoes are the most delicate, you wanna add that in last so it doesn't overcook or anything. And you'll just let it cook until the mushrooms start to sweat out, until the juices come out of them. And once that happens, that's when we add in the tomatoes. Okay, so the juices starting to come out, and normally at this point I would add some cut up garlic, but I don't have any, so I'm just going with granulated. It's fine, do whatever you'd like. Nothing too much, but a good amount. And we'll season it, so just a little bit of salt, like a sprinkle. And some pepper. Mix that together nicely. At this point, we could add in our tomatoes. And we're going to deglaze it with some wine right after. So just let it cook down for about 2-3 minutes until the tomatoes are nicely broken down. While that cooks down, let's cut our spinach. Got like a little handful of it. Squeeze it together like that so you can really get a nice grip on it. And then you'll take your knife and just, as thin as you can, just little strokes right across. You can get some nicely chopped spinach. Chiffonade. So we'll put that away on the side, just like that, and you got some nice chopped spinach. Any drinking wine of your choice, Pinot Grigio, cooking wine, whatever you like. I'm just gonna take like a tablespoon of it, nothing too crazy, turn up the heat and just let it cook off the alcohol. Scrape the pan so I can really get everything incorporated. All those burnt bits, just really scrape it in there. Get a lot of the flavor from the prosciutto. And then we can just add in our prosciutto, mix that together, and that's all it is. That is going to be your filling for the omelet with a little bit of the spinach. And just put that aside, and it's time to start cooking our omelet. Also have some Parmesan on deck if you'd like that, maybe a little bit of extra goat cheese. And just any other favorite toppings you'd like to add to it, whatever you think would be good with it, do it, because omelets are a great base for experimentation. So if you want to add some peppers, if you want to add anything you'd like, go for it. Another topping I made was an avocado hollandaise. All it is just a little bit of avocado, which is pureed in a blender. We're gonna add in about half of this mixture. Just like slowly add it until it reaches the end. Just about there, alright? We have it on low heat, so you can slowly turn it up a little bit. But the whole idea is you don't want to burn it. Leave it alone for just a little bit, okay? So once it begins to sort of harden up around the sides, you can just get your spatula and delicately just sort of lift it up and just take your egg mixture, tilt the pan, and get that mixture underneath. I'll see if I can show you again. So you take it from the bottom, lift it a little bit, and then you just let that mixture go underneath. That way, all the liquid, the egg on the top, go underneath, it will cook and be even. So you just want to keep doing that as you go around the pan. Just lift and just get that liquid underneath, like so. Do it on this side, just like that, lift and get it underneath. And this will sort of build a lip on the side, it will evenly cook it. You want to keep the heat really low through the process. Right now it's on like medium low, so now I'm going to turn it down to full low. And we're just going to let it almost cook until like this is no longer runny. So I'll do that one more time. Just all that liquid comes down to the bottom. It smells so good with the goat cheese. So that's just about good. We're going to let that sort of just harden up. And at this point we can add in our toppings. So I'll add in a little bit of our mixture that we cooked earlier. I tasted it, it tastes so good with the wine and everything. You have to try this out. Just add in as much as you want. If you want more flavor, you're gonna add in more of it, obviously. And we don't even have to add much salt. Maybe I'll do a little, just like that. But more pepper, go more pepper. See that? Okay. And then we'll just top it with our spinach. Just like that. And as much as you want. And if you want, you can actually cover it with like a cover like that, just so we can let the spinach steam for a little bit. Okay, so that's all you have to do. It's not even fully steamed, it's just softened up a little bit. Okay, so we're gonna take our spatula, and that also hardened the top, so now it's like really perfectly cooked. Just get under it, sort of slide around very carefully. Just all the way around like that. And you just wanna slowly inch through. We'll actually turn the heat off at this point, so no more heat. Just carefully, as you can, just fold it over. As you can see, some of it sort of scraped off. That's okay. Just let's hope this works out well. Flip. Boom. Okay, so you got your omelet, and we're just gonna add in a little bit of Parmesan cheese. Just like that. Just to give it a nice salty finish. And we just got some dried parsley flakes, just to give it a little greenery. And that is how you make an omelet. A really good omelet. Wow, that's really good. This is the easiest thing to make, and it tastes better than most restaurants can make it. No joke. Game over, guys. If you enjoyed this video, stay tuned, watch more videos, subscribe, support us all you can. We really appreciate it, and I hope you guys have a great day. Peace.